Rose ascertains Yuzuto that he will heal the injured men on the front lines, meaning that he'll be a part of the advance guard. This shocks Yuzuto as he questions about the roles of Tong and the other healer. Rose informs him that they have two other healers, but their roles are different from theirs. In the meantime, the Demon King questions Commander Vergret regarding the preparations for their invasion on Linger Kingdom. She informs him that the preparations are almost complete and they can invade the kingdom at any time. Even though the Demon King is not expecting her to fight till the end, he wants her to give it her all, with Vergret asserting that it's a foregone conclusion. The Demon King deems her response rather boring and dismisses her. The Great Demon King is not even confident in his own army. What a loser. On her way, Vergret gets mocked by someone for being nervous in the presence of the Demon King despite being a big shot. In response to this, Vergret tells him to focus on his work instead of teasing her and refers to him as the Monster Doctor. The doctor forbids her to use this weird nickname, stating that he already has a fine name, Rai Luke. He then offers to show her his work, and upon reaching his laboratory, he introduces her to his finest creation, Demon-Modified Monster Prototype 72, Enoch. Hearing this, Vergret comments that it possesses the same name as the previous one that got lost in their previous invasion. According to the doctor, the previous Enoch got beaten by someone named Siegless and ran off somewhere. Hearing this, Vergret asserts that there's an even greater threat than Siegless in the Linger Kingdom. The doctor immediately realizes that she's talking about the kidnappers, people who carry the wounded outside the battlefield and get them healed. She further comments on their commander Rose, asserting that he's a beast who scurries around the front lines and heals the injured on the spot. She then vows to kill her by her own hands, but this time around, he cannot fight since she is serving as the commander. All they can do is rely on their elite soldier, the immortal dark magic user. In the meantime, Yuzuto is finally back home and is glad that he's alive. After waking up, he wakes up the Blue Grizzly as well and offers him fruits he found in the dining room. The Grizzly really loved them, so Yuzuto decides to give them a shot as well. As they are enjoying their meal, the rabbit Yuzuto met in the forest also appears there. Even though Yuzuto hasn't forgiven him for taking advantage of his innocence, he still finds the rabbit hella cute and offers him some fruit as well. Yuzuto then addresses the Grizzly as Blurn as Rose overhears him. She tells him that she has informed King Lloyd regarding Blurn and that he can stay with them, but it is not for free since he has to pull his own weight. Yuzuto doesn't comprehend what she's trying to say, but he understands it when she instructs him to carry Blurn around during his daily training. She tells him to consider this as a real battle simulation where he has to carry around injured soldiers. On his way, Yuzuto gets interrupted by Tong and the others who are acting as enemy soldiers to interrupt his way. Yuzuto somehow manages to get rid of them, but after some time, he starts feeling tired even though he's been healing himself. Suddenly, Rose appears out of nowhere and explains that the human body gets fatigued by anxiety, fear, and other things as well. She then instructs him to build up his mental fortitude and situational awareness. After this, Yuzuto is told to run around the town and the castle's perimeter while carrying Blurn after replenishing his mana. As he is running around the town, the people react the same way as Yuzuto was expecting them to, since he is literally carrying a monster on his back. However, after some time, they recognize Yuzuto's outfit and things were back to normal. On their way, Blurn recognizes the fruit they had for breakfast and informs Yuzuto about them. He stops by the old granny selling them and inquires regarding the fruits. She tells him that these fruits are the speciality of their kingdom and are known as peril. He then questions the old granny regarding the calmness of people even though he is carrying a monster on his back. The granny tells him that the people are calm because they recognize you as part of the rescue squad who keeps running around the town all the time. Yuzuto also realizes that these people have gotten used to Tong and the others running around, so it'll take something more to scare them. As Yuzuto is about to leave, the granny offers him a fruit as a token of friendship and he accepts. Continuing their training, Yuzuto decides to meet Inakami and Kazuki as well since they are heading towards the castle perimeter. On their way, a weird guy recognizes Yuzuto and attempts to gain his attention, but fails miserably and eventually collapses to the ground. At that point, Yuzuto looks back and rushes towards him to heal him. As Yuzuto is healing him, the guy tells him that he just wanted to introduce himself to Yuzuto, addressing him as a junior. This shocks Yuzuto, which makes the guy wonder if Rose hasn't told him about them. He then formally introduces himself as Orga Fleur, a healer of the rescue team. He informs Yuzuto that Rose told them about a new recruitment, but he wasn't expecting him to be summoned alongside the heroes, with Yuzuto commenting that he himself forgot about this fact owing to Rose's intense training. Orga is astonished as to how Yuzado can keep up with Rose's training since he and his sister failed to do so. Orga further tells him that he's not good at healing himself, but when the time comes, they aid the captain in healing the injured. Hearing this, Yuzado questions him regarding their roles on the battlefield as Orga tells him that Tong and the others retrieve injured soldiers from the battlefield and they heal them. Yuzado then informs him that he'll be on the front lines alongside Rose, which shocks Orga as he ascertains that the ones on the front lines are most susceptible to death, but with healers on the front lines, they can be saved. He further tells him that Rose is not the type of person to choose someone half-heartedly and that she must have thought about this. Following this, Yuzado decides to take his leave, but before he leaves, Orga advises him to not hate Rose too much. With this, Yuzado leaves and Orga's sister appears at the spot. She scolds him for running away on his own as Orga tells her about someone interesting he met today and that she'll meet him eventually as well. In the meantime, Yuzado reaches the castle where the guard recognizes him as Yuzado from the rescue squad and lets him in. He even allows him to carry Blurn because of Rose, which makes Yuzado wonder that they trust Rose too much. Inside the castle, Yuzado comes across Inakami, who is way beyond excited to see him. As they settle down, Yuzado introduces her to Blurn as Inakami asks if she can pet him and he allows her. Blurn, however, doesn't allow Inakami to touch him even during his sleep. Yuzado attempts to explain that Blurn doesn't like being touched by strangers, but gets shocked to see that Inakami is happy with this as well. After this, Blurn bites her hand, which makes Yuzado wonder if he hates her, but he bit his hand as well. Things got a bit weird. Following this, Yuzado notices bruises on Inakami's hand from all that practice and heals them instantly, which makes her blush. She questions Yuzado if he's here to meet her specifically, as he tells him that he wanted to meet her and Kazuki as well. Inakami informs him that Kazuki is on a mission alongside Siegless and the others. She further tells him that as soon as he returns, it will be her turn. With this, Yuzado leaves, contemplating about how Inakami and Kazuki are doing their best for the upcoming battle. Upon reaching home, he puts Blurn to sleep and gets confronted by Rose, who questions him regarding his training. In response to this, Yuzado tells her that he's getting used to it as Rose tells him to continue. Yuzado then tells Rose that he got freaked out when she told him about the war, but today, he has strengthened his resolve. He announces that he won't kill anyone on the battlefield, but he will save Kazuki, Inakami, and anyone else he can. Hearing all this, Rose further motivates him, stating that the rescue squad prides itself on saving others, and at that moment, Yuzado felt like a proper member of the rescue squad. Even though Yuzado is worried about his role in all this, he is still determined to help his comrades. Rose is an exemplary leader in my opinion, and my respect for her is increasing with each passing episode. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, so you don't miss out on anything.